Life unfurls as a sprawling epic, its chapters penned by the countless souls who cross our path, each one a thread woven into the intricate fabric of our being, each leaving an indelible trace, be it a whisper or a wound. Some enter our story as radiant gifts, their presence a lantern illuminating the contours of love, the steadfastness of loyalty, and the sacred stillness of genuine connection, enriching our days with bursts of joy, moments of profound understanding, and the tender reciprocity of mutual growth. Others arrive like jagged storms, tearing through our calm with lessons wrapped in pain, disappointment that settles like dust in the lungs, betrayal that slices through trust, or emotional barrenness that leaves us adrift, grasping for meaning in the silence they leave behind. Yet, as we traverse this winding gallery of human encounters, a persistent question shadows us. Why do we anchor ourselves to those who cannot or will not see our worth? Why does the act of letting go feel like prying open a clenched fist, raw with resistance, as if we're surrendering a piece of our own soul? Carl Jung, a navigator of the psyche's uncharted depths, peered into this paradox and offered a luminous truth. The struggle isn't merely with the other, it's with the unseen tides within us, mirrored through their eyes. Jung envisioned the unconscious as a boundless ocean, its currents swirling with symbols, archetypes, and fragments of our buried selves. A hidden realm that quietly crafts the architecture of our reality. If you've ever found yourself ensnared in a relentless spiral, relationships where your heart spills forth like a ceaseless stream only to meet parched earth, where you give with abandon yet harvest only echoes or indifference, it's not a cruel jest of fate. It's your unconscious mind unfurling its tapestry, casting others as players in a drama scripted by your deepest, often unrecognized wounds. These recurring cycles aren't punishments or flukes. They're invitations, urgent calls from your soul to turn inward, to confront the shadows you've tucked away beneath layers of denial, habit, or fragile hope. Letting go, then, is no mere act of detachment. It's a descent into the labyrinth of your own being, a courageous unraveling of the chains that bind you to suffering. When you cling to someone who dims your light, you're not just holding on to them. You're gripping a narrative your spirit aches to rewrite, a chapter it pleads for you to turn. Think back to those restless nights when intuition stirred, a soft, insistent murmur rising from your core whispering, "This isn't your harbor." Perhaps it came as a fleeting pang in your chest, a dream that left you unsettled, a quiet unease you couldn't name. Yet you stayed, stitching together a patchwork of rationalizations to shield yourself from the glaring truth. Maybe they'd soften with time. Maybe your patience would kindle their regard. Maybe your love could bridge the void their distance carved. You might have told yourself it was noble to endure, that persistence would one day yield the recognition you craved. Jung would gently redirect your gaze, not to their failings, but to the echo within you. He spoke of the shadow, that subterranean vault where we stow our fears, our insecurities, our silent convictions that we must earn our place in another's heart. If, beneath the surface, you harbor a belief that love is a trophy wrested through sacrifice, that your worth hinges on their reluctant nod, your unconscious will summon actors to play out this script, time and again. Until you make the unconscious conscious, Jung cautioned, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. To let go is to break this cycle, to step out of the shadows and claim a destiny illuminated by your own truth. What transpires when you release? The moment you turn from what drains your essence, a silent revolution ignites within. You're no longer a marionette, jerked by threads of doubt, longing, or unreciprocated devotion. You sever the strings and stand tall, sovereign in your own skin. You proclaim, I am not here to plead for affection. I am here to embody it, to breathe it, to radiate it from the depths of my being. Fear may swell like a storm on the horizon. The familiar, even when it scars, cloaks us in a deceptive warmth. But Jung saw authentic growth as a plunge into the abyss, a willingness to face the dark corners of the self with unflinching resolve. Letting go of someone who doesn't cherish you isn't a retreat or a defeat. It's a rebellion of self-love, a bold reclamation of your inherent dignity. It's not about hurling curses or wishing them ill. It's about stepping out of a role that confines you, unshackling yourself from a storyline where you're cast as an afterthought, and opening your heart to a narrative where your value shines unbidden, without needing to be wrested from their grasp or carved from their indifference. As you shed these bindings, your world tilts on its axis, and a subtle magic begins to weave itself into your days. Your energy, once poured into barren soil, surges back to you. Vital, vibrant, brimming with untapped potential, and the universe takes notice. Jung's synchronicity, the intricate choreography of meaningful coincidences, steps into play, threading new faces, new possibilities, new chapters into the fabric of your existence. Every relationship, every rupture carries a hidden gift, a deeper intent. If someone has stretched you to your breaking point, forcing you to question your own worth, it's not a sentence. It's a summons, a flare from your psyche illuminating the cracks that yearn for healing. That healing demands courage to say enough and embrace the stillness that follows, to trust that the emptiness isn't a grave but a womb, cradling the seeds of renewal. Your unconscious speaks ceaselessly, through a knot in your gut, a shiver down your spine, a dream that lingers like a half-remembered song. But too often we smother it, papering over the discomfort with tales of endurance. We convince ourselves love is a crucible, that staying proves our depth, that one more effort might turn the tide. But love, true love, doesn't thrive in shackles or bloom through force. If you're scavenging for crumbs of affection, you're not in the right embrace. It's time to heed that inner voice you've silenced for far too long, to let it guide you back to yourself. Pause and reflect. What do I truly deserve? Let the question settle into your bones. Let it stir the quiet corners of your heart. If your soul answers with visions of respect, of tenderness, of a bond that flows like a river meeting the sea, equal, effortless, alive, then let that vision become your North Star. Release what fractures you, not with venom or resentment, but with gratitude for the clarity it bestowed, and with unwavering faith that what lies ahead outshines what you've left behind. When you let go, a seismic shift ripples through your being. You stop twisting yourself to fit spaces that chafe, stop bending to appease hands too clenched to hold you. You cease clawing for validation from those too blind, or too unwilling, to see your light. Jung called this shadow integration, bringing illumination to the recesses where you once hid your worth, where you sought love through sacrifice, through silent pleas, through the futile hope that your giving might one day be mirrored. As these patterns rise into the light of awareness, their grip weakens, and you step into a freedom that feels like a long-forgotten homecoming. We resist letting go, trembling at the thought of the hollow it might leave. But what's truly lost when you release what wounds you? Jung saw unnecessary suffering as a choice, a tapestry woven from threads of fear, from dread of the uncharted waters beyond. The mind spins its illusions. Without them, I'm unmoored, adrift, erased. Perhaps you've whispered to yourself that this bond, flawed as it is all you have. That without it, the world will grow dim, that no one else will ever fill the space they occupy. Yet this is the ego's cunning sleight of hand, anchoring us to cycles we've outlived, blinding us to the vastness that awaits. Here emerges individuation, Jung's sacred odyssey toward wholeness, a pilgrimage to know yourself beyond the reflections of others, to stand in your own truth without leaning on their fractured mirrors. Your worth isn't a token they bestow. It's a flame that's burned within you since your first breath, waiting for you to fan it into a blaze. That journey lies dormant while you cradle a fading relic of what once was, while you pour your energy into a vessel that cannot hold it. How often do we perch on the edge of hope, yearning for their epiphany? How many hours have you spent gazing at their closed door, waiting for them to fling it wide and see you, truly see you, as you long to be seen? That ache for their recognition is a mirror to a deeper wound, a scar etched long ago. Why do we seek warmth from those who offer only cold? Why do we chase light from those who cast only shade? Jung traced this to primal echoes. Perhaps a childhood where love felt like a riddle to unravel, a prize won through quiet suffering, a lesson that taught you affection must be earned rather than freely given. Maybe you learned early that to be loved, you must bend, you must prove, you must endure. But love, real love, isn't a labyrinth to navigate or a battlefield to conquer. The right soul won't demand you shrink to fit their frame, won't ask you to barter your essence for their fleeting glance. Letting go isn't merely an act of grace, it's a mark of wisdom, a refusal to squander your radiance on soil that won't bloom. A recognition that your heart, your time, your spirit are treasures, not trinkets to be tossed at the feet of the indifferent, not offerings to appease the unappreciative. The specter of loneliness looms large, a shadow that whispers of isolation and loss. But Jung reframed it with piercing clarity. True desolation isn't the absence of others, it's the exile from oneself. You can stand amid a sea of faces, surrounded by voices and laughter, and still feel invisible if you've drifted from your own center, if you've lost the thread that ties you to your own soul. Yet when you root yourself there, when you rebuild that sacred bond within, solitude transforms into a sanctuary, a strength that steadies you. You don't need another to feel complete. You don't need their presence to affirm your existence. Relationships shift from lifelines to celebrations, chosen from a wellspring of abundance rather than a desert of lack. Transformation flares when you reframe letting go, not as a subtraction, but as an addition, a doorway to possibility. It hurts. Jung knew every rebirth cradles a crisis, every awakening carries the sting of shedding, but that ache is the chrysalis splitting, revealing a self unshackled by what never truly fit. A self ready to soar. Every bond you clutch blocks the tide of what waits. The universe holds its breath while you grip the past, while you pour your vitality into a vessel that leaks. Letting go is trust in your resilience, in life's rhythm, in the promise that what's yours will find you without force or fanfare. Don't wait for their dawn. Light your own. When you do, the world bends. Those who overlooked your shine feel the echo of your absence, but it's no longer their stage to claim. It's yours, your rise, your renewal, your rewriting of the script. Release and synchronicity unfurls, souls that match your glow, drawn not by strife but by harmony, connections that flow like streams meeting the sea. One choice to let go remakes you. It's not just a person you free, it's a self that knelt, a self that begged, a self that settled. You stop chasing, you stand. Love reflects when you cradle it within, when you cease seeking it in the eyes of those too blind to see. The ego fights, spinning visions of what could be, a fragile mirage of a future where they finally turn, where they finally choose you. But waiting shifts nothing. People change when they will, not when you will it. Jung saw attachment as a skirmish with buried creeds. I'm only whole with them. I'm only enough if they stay. Letting go ends that war. It's choosing you, not proving you, not justifying you, but honoring you. That reclaimed energy unveils a piercing truth. You gave too much to what wasn't yours. You poured your light into shadows that couldn't hold it. Synchronicity hums. New paths open, new voices rise, not by luck but by will. Power lies in enough, not from spite but from knowing, from a quiet certainty that you deserve more. Awakening stings, Jung said, but peace trails in its wake, a weight lifted from unreturned longing, a lightness born from stepping out of a story that never belonged to you. You find you're whole alone, needing no nod but your own. You rise, unbound, choosing from might rather than meekness. This reaches beyond you, a ripple that touches others. Countless souls ache as you once did, trapped in the same cycles, clinging to the same illusions. Share this spark, this ember of truth. What stirred you as you read? What piece of this resonated in your bones? What will you shed today? What weight? What story? What shadow? Let's weave a sanctuary of self-worth, a community where letting go is not losing but gaining. Gaining freedom, gaining space, gaining the right to be you, unapologetically and fully. You've taken a step by lingering here, by letting these words sink in. The next step is yours to claim. Will you stride forward into the unknown, trusting that what awaits is infinitely richer than what you leave? I'll see you there, on the other side of this choice.